Welcome, everybody, to the latest episode of the Live from the 575 Esports podcast, and we have a very special cast of gamers here with us. We'll start to my right. Go ahead and say your name, my brother.
Well, good. My name's 400P, or Zoom.
I'm Kaze.
My name's Jula Chief.
And I'm Classy.
And we have 3 of the 4, or technically 3 of the 5, of the Call of Duty Academy team, and State Aggies Academy. And we got our only in-person member today. We got Fernie COD. We'll start with you, Fernie. How is the new team? I know we mentioned a little bit during our small short interviews, which you guys will see on our TikTok. But talk to me, Fernie. How's the new team?
Compared to the ACAD last year, it's like a whole new level, in my opinion, because there's a lot more game sense that you have to think about, other than just like go rush, go kill, go to the point. Now you gotta like think ahead of your opponents and all that, because it's really a higher level, and you can tell when you just play it. And luckily, I was able to adapt. So.
Definitely, man. I mean, you have some really good teammates. Shout out Jolteon, Electric, and Phil Phenom. Wish we would be able to get a podcast with them, but they're all doing their own thing, which is cool. Don't want to disrupt their flow. But talk to me about, adapting to a Phil Phenom team, because I know he's kind of not necessarily controversial, but I know he's got a very opinionated way of how to play COD, and so does Jolteon, so they kind of mesh perfectly. How is it fitting into that system in terms of just like knowing that, damn, I messed up here, let's get better next time?
Yeah, at first I would tweak a lot, because I'm thinking like, okay, am I doing something that's like kind of faded or brain dead? And then I would just like make the wrong plays and like hesitate, and it would just cost us sometimes. But like over time, you build the chem and all that, and you're just able to feel more comfortable. And before going into this team, people were like, "Oh, Phil's a hothead," and like this team is like really stressed, or like there's a lot going on.
Stress environment, yeah.
Yeah. So, but like, yeah, it was that at first, but then like once you get to like get comfortable with these guys, you like start feeling and playing your game.
Definitely. Now, Kaze, next question is for you. Obviously, with the CCL changing its sort of format where there isn't really like a second division, you just get to be put in like a regular CCL bracket, so to speak, and at least in the first stage. How has that been in terms of how they kind of divided academy versus varsity in the previous year?
Yeah, so this year they have essentially it was pool play. It was a round robin kind of division set by regions. So we were kind of thrown into the wolves pretty much of the West Division, which isn't as competitive, I would say, as like some of the other divisions, because we don't have a Fisher, we don't have to face Fisher or Oklahoma Christian or any of those like really high ranked teams that have some semi-pro players on their teams. But it's definitely still an experience having to play against main rosters most of the time during the round robin. It was rough at first, I will say, because I think the first couple series, I was just like, what is happening? Because you got to think, like, I'm not dissing you guys or anything, but I went from a very veteran-heavy roster last year with ACAD, with Kulzuni, Sonoma, and Turkey Neck. And, I mean, Sonoma and Turkey Neck played in CCL before, and they've had the experience. They already got coached a lot of the time. They have that, just that game sense already built up. To me, who's brand new to competitive COD, last year was my first time ever trying it, to now having to lead a roster was just rough. It was an experience, but now we've gotten more comfortable with each other. We've learned to lose, which sounds weird, but we've learned to take the loss as a learning experience rather than, oh, we messed up. And so, most of the time after a loss, we're just laughing, or we're joking around. And so we adapted, we learned, and now that they split us into our divisions, I think we can hit the ground running. We're a lot better than what a lot of the teams have been putting us as. We were ranked dumpster fire, but in like the original rankings of all CCL. So I think we're a little bit better than that. I think there's a lot of teams that we can definitely beat out.
Definitely. I want to move over to you, Classy. Classy, you played last season for College COD as well. Obviously, you were on the NMSU. Was it white or black at the time? It was white, right?
I think it was white. Yeah, it was the third team. Yeah, the third team.
Now moving up to the second team. Obviously, you already have such a stacked schedule. How has it been difficult trying to balance both Rocket League varsity and essentially a Call of Duty varsity team?
It's pretty hard, I would say, because Rocket League takes up a lot of my time, since I have to do like minimum, I think it's like 4 scrims a week. We do two a day. trying to get that, then try to still run some rank, trying to just keep my gunny up and stuff like that. It's pretty hard. They're always trying to schedule like the games around me, which kind of makes it difficult for them too. But I think I mean, it's pretty cool that I have people that are able to like schedule around me, knowing that I have these other games and stuff like that. But I'd say it's not too hard.
That's good, man. I would say like you probably have one of the more stacked schedules, being on having so much coaching to deal with on Rocket League side, and then always trying to learn on the Call of Duty side. We'll pass the microphone over to Jula. Jula, you play a lot of games too. Granted, I know 2 out of the 4 of the games you play at this point aren't really too strong in terms of like how like schedule heavy they are. Overwatch, kind of on hiatus right now. Marvel Rivals getting there. Counter-Strike here and there, being that you're a sub for my Crimson team. Talk to me how it is to kind of really put all your eggs in one basket when it comes to Call of Duty, when it comes to locking in.
It's pretty fun. I like playing with all these guys right here. They're pretty funny. It's just really nice. Like, I haven't had a Call of Duty experience like this like in a while. I did some CCL back in the day, but other than that, nothing other than ranked. So
Definitely, man. Definitely. I want to talk to you, Julia, as well, talking about like the levels of competition when it comes to where you're at right now, at least in Call of Duty, and then when you've played in terms of Overwatch. I mean, I would say your Overwatch team was pretty stacked in terms of ranked wise. They were like Diamond Plus, which is relatively high. What do you think the game is harder to coordinate your team around? Is it Call of Duty or is it Overwatch?
I feel like Overwatch is a little harder, in my opinion. Call of Duty, it's more just like going, holding angles, making sure that if someone's down, they're down. Overwatch, once you get someone, you have to know like who else has ult. You have to count ults. You need to see who's weak. If you can dive them, make sure that they're down, and then just count ults. That's the scary part, because once someone uses ults in tandem with another one, it could be a game over, or you survive and you keep fighting.
Definitely. How would you say like the transition from a keyboard and mouse game like Overwatch to a controller game like Call of Duty has kind of affected your Call of Duty growth? Has it kind of helped? Do you think it's hindered? Do you think you had to like take a step back and relearn? Or is it just picking back up the controller where you left off?
It's kind of just picking up the controller where I left off. I play controller all my life. This is like for the Crimson team for Counter-Strike. I never played mouse and keyboard until I tried out for Counter-Strike. So, yeah.
Wow, and you're pretty good at it, so that's pretty impressive. We'll switch it over to Classy here, because Classy, your older esport primarily is controller. It's not keyboard and mouse at all, at least the way you play it. Do you feel like the kind of fluidity in Rocket League kind of translates properly to Call of Duty, or not really?
I would think so, because the way Rocket League is such a fast-paced game where I'm more of like a guy that like just takes in a lot of information, so I'm using both joysticks, flicking, just seeing the little like micro adjustments and everything, and then switching that to COD, just having a literally split-second matches or kills. I think it just transitions like really, really good. I think the only difference is that on Rocket League I play like claw. I have like my index finger over all the buttons, and then on COD I just use the paddle, so that's the only difference. But I don't know if there's a better or worse, honestly.
Definitely. Kaze, you play a little bit more Counter-Strike and computer games than these guys do, at least competitively for Counter-Strike. Crimson, do you kind of have that same sentiment?
As in, like
it kind of doesn't really matter too much, or do you feel like you have to kind of take a step out and be like, okay, I'm playing a keyboard game now. I need to play like keyboard players, not like a controller player where I just run in.
Yeah, I mean, the pacing in Counter-Strike is very much different from COD. A lot of the time in COD, you can get away with just sprinting all the time. Counter-Strike, I mean, most of our plays are fast, and so it kind of just relates to that. You go around a corner, make sure to pre-aim around it, like around to where their head is going to be. Same thing in COD. You slide around a corner, pre-aim where they're going to be. So a lot of it correlates when it comes to like the game sense side of things. Definitely not in the mechanics at all. It's a completely different experience playing mouse and keyboard and controller when it comes to any of that. But yeah, I mean, game sense wise, it somewhat translates. It is a little difficult at times having to change the pace, but I think having them on separate inputs definitely does help.
Definitely, yeah. Next question is for you, Fernie. I want to know your opinion when it comes to pretty much pro players being allowed to play in collegiate competitions, if you have a stance on that. I know Call of Duty is pretty notorious for having such an issue. If some people even look at it as an issue, what would you say is like the solution if there is one.
I think if they're like genuinely getting a degree while trying to play, I think it's like fine with me in my opinion. But I have heard that some players are only in with like minimal like credit hours or something, and they're just in mainly just to play, and they're like education is something like an afterthought, and they're all putting their eggs in COD. So I think when it's like that situation, it's kind of like weird. Like, why not just try to get your education while trying to play a game you like? I think that's like kind of the dream for most people.
Definitely, yeah. I think when it comes to, like you said, I completely agree with that. If you're actually trying to get your degree and you're going to classes and stuff like that, there's no reason why you shouldn't be able to play. I feel like when there is that kind of like division where like, oh, this guy's taking one class, but he's playing at Challenger League Cups, Challenger LANs, CCL LANs, like, okay, maybe he's not really a collegiate player. He's just taking, Communications 1 or something online. I don't think that should be the case. I know that some people have kind of hypothesized the fix would be like you have to be in person to play COD, and I feel like that would ruin a lot of other esports as well, because some people don't play in person, even here at NMSU, right? They are at different campuses, and obviously universities are bigger than ours, so it doesn't really make sense for that to be the case. Talk to me. Are you guys West Sunbelt or West Pacific?
West Pacific.
West Pacific. Is it both of you guys?
Yeah.
Okay.
We're both in that one.
I don't think this is the newest divisions that just dropped, right?
Yeah.
All right.
So
We'll go ahead and take a
bottom
look
At
at the bottom left.
Yeah. Let me open this up in browser. We'll go ahead and take a look at it, and I want to get you guys' opinions on the seeding. We'll start with Division 2, which is where Academy sits. Right now, you guys sit in with Colorado State, California State, San Jose, University of California, Berkeley, and then all the California states besides. I think that's pretty much all the California states.
It's every
besides
Cali school that's
Northridge.
like second team.
How is that in terms of like matches for your like ping wise? I know you guys are always playing west at that point, right?
Actually, no. So the reason why we like to play from the lab is that we actually ping central here.
Okay.
And so we pull the central host and we get really good ping on it. We get like 15, 16 ping.
That's not bad.
And so we like pulling that. And even when we play on west, it's not even that bad. We get like 40, which isn't horrendous. But like obviously they're going to be at like 10, 15. But I mean, it hasn't been that bad. We definitely do force them to play like a lot of their HPs and like the respawns on our ping, because I mean most of the time you win more gunfights like that in HP than your S&Ds. Like S&D ping it matters, but not as much, I think.
Yeah, you take more time on your gunfights with S&D and stuff like that, or it's just so split second that you're either killing the guy or he's killing you. And
right.
Whatever.
Yeah.
There's not really too many fights. From these schools, from you guys, from what you guys can see at least, what do you think is like the dark horse alongside you guys? Because I know it's like, what, a 10, 12 team bracket? Dark horse teams aside from you guys, if you guys have played them yet. I don't know if you played any of these teams yet.
Well, I already do know Cal State Fullerton. We played them last year. They were one of the few teams and the west side of things to take us map 5 almost every single time we played against them. Last year they had 2 essentially open division teams, so like 2 teams that were around the same level, Diamond, Crimson, maybe like 1 iridescent player or so. And so I think out of all these teams, it's definitely going to be CSUF. But yeah, I think the only returning player on that orange team is Cloudy XR from last year.
Now we'll take a look at Division 1 for you, Fernie. Obviously, you got some of the main teams, obviously, for a lot of these schools. We even got UTEP in there, which is pretty cool. Shout out Entity and all those guys down south. Any other teams besides you guys looking to be dark horse come playoffs?
I think I'm going to have to give the same answer because they're like our only loss right now, I think. And I'm telling you, bro, they're freaks on the map.
Wait, is it Fullerton?
Yeah.
Are they in the same?
Yeah, they're right there at the top.
Oh, okay. Fullerton blue, and then I guess.
Yeah, and they have
down
Fullerton
here.
orange.
Oh, okay. Nice, dude.
There's definitely a bit of a background beef with that school, so
I think
we won't go too far into it, but
Talking about
Sonoma COD. Everybody knows Sonoma COD, man. He won't take anybody else's BS, and so I mean, I tip it every single time.
Gotta love the dude.
Gotta love it, man.
For sure, man. Now, talk to me a little bit about some of the outside of collegiate play that you guys do. I know you guys do a lot of Trauma League, shout out Victor Entity for always putting on some great tournaments there. Talk to me about how Trauma League's been. I know a lot of you guys are in it or play around it.
I'm trying to get everyone on ACAD to play the G League.
I think it'd be a good idea. Freddie, since you probably have played a little bit more with some of the higher, was it like higher starred players? Or is it
Yeah,
high
he's
star, lower
considered
star?
a 5-star, which
A
is
5-star?
top. Like, it's usually your like challenger players that are in the league
When
and
I saw
stuff
that, I was
like
like,
that.
dang, that's a lot of gas.
How would you say that like transitions in terms of practice? You think it's like pretty good practice, or is it like a legit thing you should be like putting a lot of time and effort into?
I think a little bit of both, because at first I joined just so I could have a lot of reps in COD, because like I was saying earlier, I was getting slammed a lot from taking a break over the Christmas time, and I decided to take advantage and like get with a different team and try to play and get used to the game, try to learn as much as I can to translate it to the varsity team. And turns out I got to win a chip my first year in.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, the reverse sweep in Trauma Org Stage 1
It was a movie.
against Jolteon's team.
Damn.
The team owned by
I know
Jolteon.
he low-key still salty about that.
Yeah, like we played map 5 or not map 5, but just the
Map
protocol,
7, yeah. It was
or
map
in
7,
the main team.
Oh,
we
yeah.
played a protocol search, and some dude blew up his teammate and him with his RC, and Joe was like, "Oh, I'm getting trauma flashbacks." So I don't think he's letting it go for a while.
Unfortunate. Now, Kaze, I know you put a lot of time and effort into Trauma League. Talk to me about it, man. How's it been in terms of like just getting your gunny up in terms of just practicing against people that shoot back, actually?
Yeah, so I think, with at least the way that I see Trauma League is, since I'm a 3-star, so it's bottom worst in main league, probably one of the top 3 stars in G League, or maybe even the main league. I don't know. It really depends on who you ask, because there's a lot of really good 3-stars. But just being able to shoot against these players that, you know, compete almost every single day or scrim every single day, and just learning from them, even just because like I'm really close with a couple of them, Waves, Frost, Chaotix, some of these like challenger names. Well, Chaotix hasn't competed in a while, but I mean, just learning from them and getting their input on certain things, learning how to play my role as a main sub, being a little more aggressive on the map. And I think it's helped out with this, especially because, I mean, if your main sub or your main Slayer player is getting all the kills, being pushed up on the map, being a rat, it makes their lives easier.
Yeah, 100%.
And it allows them to move around the map a little more freely without having to worry about anything. So definitely being able to play against the 5-stars and stuff, and, you know, feeling all right most of the time. I mean, I dropped a 0.9 against your team. And when we first played,
The usual, really.
I dropped a 0.9, but hey man, most of the 3-stars, the average KD is like a 0.7, 0.6. So dropping a 0.9 as a 3-star isn't horrendous or like at all outstanding. Like this guy had like a 1.3. So it's not like anything crazy, but I think. I'm not sure. I'd have to look at the stat sheet again, but I mean, yeah, I'm trying to bring these guys into G League. It's going to be a lot of the players. Essentially, it's like playing how it is for ACAD. Like, we're going to play all the academy teams. We're going to play those kinds of players. And if we, you know, even if we're not even on the same team, you can still learn. You still learn all the different headies, all the different credit corners. And sometimes, I mean, last year they didn't really do it too much, but some of the 5-stars even get hired as coaches. And so you're still learning from 5-stars. Like, they're still watching your scrims. And so it's a good experience. I think Trauma League overall is a really great thing. And although it's small, it's growing pretty quick. Like we added a whole new team last year we added a whole new team from last year, and it's just growing. There's a lot more people in it. It used to be just a friends league. Now it's branching out. So it's pretty fun.
What about you, Classy? I know sometimes you get into some of the trauma stuff like that. Do you play into it or not really?
What do you mean exactly?
Like, are you in the Trauma League or not?
Yeah, I mean, I started off in the G League.
Okay.
And I started off obviously in the last COD game, and it was low-key pretty fun. I think I got more into it because you know, I had Zinthos as a teammate, and he's like, dude, you should get into it. And then Kazi's like, dude, let's try to get on the same team. So then I got drafted with Kazi, and it was pretty fun playing, but it was kind of hard transitioning to players that have like played the whole game, or that's their like main game.
Yeah.
Like for me, for Rocket League, you just get slammed. So getting slammed, and then that's when I started learning comms and like game sense and stuff like that, which ended up helping me going into like our academy games and stuff like that. Then once I switched up to the like the main it's G League, and then it's just like
It's just the main league.
trauma,
Yeah.
right?
It's just main league. Yeah.
They just made me a 3-star, which I mean I know I was gonna be a 3-star because I'm not like that crazy, but like every team wanted to pick me up, I guess, because I was like, I guess pretty high for a 3-star in the last game, and I don't know. It's pretty cool learning. I learned a lot from Jolteon because I got on his team when I was like a free agent, I think. And I think the one thing he learns is like a lot of people play to win, but I'm a player that just plays not to lose.
Yeah.
So it's just like a different mindset going in, you know?
Definitely, man. What about you, Julia? We'll pass the mic over to him. Julia, do you play any Trauma League? I don't know if you do.
My first experience with it was when
was
Kaze
Combines.
invited me. Yeah,
Okay.
it was
Yeah.
the Combines. I joined in, and I didn't know what it was. I was just playing. And
Yeah,
then,
Yeah.
and then I saw this. I was watching back the streams. They were all, this guy's a 3-star, like probably a low 4-star. I was all, what are they talking about?
Yeah, they put
I
him
was
pretty
just-
high.
Yeah,
up
I was
there.
like mad confused. And then whenever they did the draft, they were doing everything. I was watching, and I was all, why am I in a draft? What is
What's
this?
going on?
Yeah.
I was like, what the hell? And then I started getting like offers from teams to go and like scrim with them and try everything, and yeah, it's fun.
That's kind of cool, man.
Yeah, you're
I
currently
really
a free
like
agent, huh?
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys are in Trauma League, you're looking for a low 4-star, high 3-star, we got Julia Chief. Pick him up, man. He's a
I won't sell. I
hot
promise.
commodity. He won't sell your S&Ds, I swear. But yeah, man, I really like what Entity's done. Also getting, UTEP into the
Oh,
CCL
yeah.
and stuff like that. That's really awesome to see.
He's built up that COD team. They have a solid COD team too.
Yeah,
Like
dude.
you wouldn't expect that down in especially El Paso, but I mean, hell, there's a lot of COD
There's a
players
lot of
everywhere.
good COD players in El
What do you mean
Paso.
by What's wrong with El Paso, bro?
It's
There's a
just
lot of good
we're in
players.
those cities that like a lot of people don't, or even states even, because like
New
I'd say
Mexico.
UTEP as like that corner part. A lot of people just say you like El Paso's New Mexico, but extended, but like
Or
that
like Mexico,
corner.
just Mexico.
or just yeah. So it's like in this region of the U.S., a lot of people don't expect players to
Yeah.
to be this high of rank or anything like that. I mean, what is it? Pizro was SSL in Alamogordo or something. So like, who's gonna look?
Definitely Los Alamos. Anyway,
Not
But,
Los
yeah.
Alamos. Oh, Los Alamos, yeah. But like, it's just one of those things. It's like you never know what's even in like these dark horse of states. So
Yeah, I mean, I think the only like true pro players to like have won anything or even gotten close to winning anything was Paul X and Chino, right? Those are
Oh,
the
yeah.
only two pro
Well,
players, at
he's-
least that I know of from New Mexico.
yeah, and he's in the pro league right now. He's on
Yeah.
Minnesota Rocker, and they're actually solid. Like I was. I'm not gonna say anything, but I was like, I've kind of had my doubts on that Minnesota Rocker team, but I mean, they're frying.
They're doing well, man. They beat my team this week, so pretty sad. They beat my optic team. But let's talk about the CCL a little bit. Not the CCL, CDL. You guys obviously watch a pretty good amount of competitive COD.
Let's go.
Fernie, do you watch a lot, dude?
I did like MW2, MW3, but now it's like kind of slowing down, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I try to like watch like the VODs when they're done or whatever.
Just kind of see what everybody else is doing.
Yeah, and like see what the strats are or whatever. And then I'm on CDL Twitter, so I always keep up that way.
Keep up that way. Do you think that like watching competitive teams legitimately helps you in terms of like translating even plays or even like strats into like down the collegiate? Because I know like in big games like Valorant, Counter-Strike, and Overwatch, they'll see something be done in like a pro level, and then like it's literally the same shit going into like ranked for the next year.
Yeah.
Like a big game that does that a lot is like League of Legends. They'll watch Faker play with whatever character and win a tournament. You don't see that character get played or banned because everybody's playing it for the next year until he does it again with another character. Is that kind of similar with COD? Because obviously you probably play at the highest level here. Do you kind of see that translate from the CDL to the CCL?
Not as much as you would think, because I feel like one thing a team does doesn't always mean that when you do it, it's going to work. So the main thing we do is just learn like on our own, like to see what does click and what doesn't. And if not, we just watch the VOD or whatever. And recently we had a top challengers guy, coaches. I feel like that's been helping. Like, it's not about like the actual strats, but like things to keep in mind on the map. Like, because a lot of things we don't really take into consideration at first. That's how we were playing. we were just like, all right, like the basics, like rotate this time or hold this credit or whatever.
Yeah.
But when you're trying to like copy strats, I feel like for sure ranked you can get away with it. But I think when you're playing people that are also watching those games and those strats, like they could like
They kinda
adapt.
remember or
Yeah,
adapt to
they
it,
adapt
yeah.
mid game, so you can only really do it once, and then like a little cheese tactic or whatever.
Definitely, yeah. I know Kaze is the certified Shotzi Glazer for movement. What do you think about it, Kaze? Do you think like watching pro players like actually helps? I would say maybe not so much on a team level, but like on an individual level.
Oh yeah, I mean, most of the time, a lot of the head glitches, a lot of the routes and stuff, they're gonna be the same. You're gonna see people hitting those same routes all the time. Ranked play in Trauma in CCL, CDL, it's all gonna be the same routes. Like if it's working in Pro League, it's gonna work in any kind of thing that you play. But for me personally, like seeing certain movement techs, seeing ways to maneuver yourself in the map and position yourself in two ways you can get kills is definitely different, and it's different and the same at the same time. Like it's hard to explain it.
Yeah. It's like you can only do so much to copy, Shotzi's route, but when it comes to your actual like ability to react in a split second, moment,
Right, yeah.
it's just kind of varied and thrown up in the air. I don't know. For Rocket League, Classy, I'll pass the question off to you. I mean, I know obviously Rocket League's competitive scene is like pretty much like one of the top tier in terms of like watching and like trying to translate it. Do you think that more people like watch competitive COD to get better, or like more people watch competitive Rocket League to get better in those like respective games? I don't know if you would know that. Like, do people watch Rocket League? Like, I don't know, they'll watch Daniel and be like, yo, I'm gonna try that in my next game, compared to people watching Shotzi. Oh, I'm gonna try that route next game. Do you know that? Because I know you talk to a lot of Rocket League people and COD people.
Yeah, I feel like it doesn't really transition the same, because like with COD you're able to like pretty much like run right like the same thing, you're able to do it and stuff like that. But with Rocket League, it's one of those games where you have to like be individually like highly skilled. So I think the only thing you could transition from them is like their game sense and positioning. Like unless you're able to like, oh, I'm gonna watch Daniel, I want to do this. Unless you're able to pull off like a double flip reset into like a musty double tap, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the mechanical skills
like,
completely different.
Yeah, like if I see Daniel, I'm like, oh, I can't do that. But if I look at Daniel, I'm like, oh, I could get at least one, or do these sick ass like recoveries and stuff like that. But it's really hard. From SSL to pro, the gap is way too high.
Yeah.
In my opinion, and the ceiling is just getting even higher. Like back then, GC1 was the SSL now,
Yeah.
and now SSL is like
Nothing.
literally nothing. Yeah.
Compared to like where the pros are at. Damn. I'll pass the question off to you, Julia. I know. Did you watch any like competitive esports outside of COD before you started COD, if any?
Nah, not for COD, but for Overwatch. Yeah.
Overwatch.
Yeah.
Did you used to like? I know Overwatch is a lot easier because you just like, all right, just pick, goats comp and then just win the game in the next couple months or whatever. How did you like kind of transition that way of thinking in terms of like, okay, I know metas and COD are a little weird, and like with GAs and stuff like that. Coming from Overwatch, where there's so many like different options that are generally okay and like pickable, to a game where it's like really strict in terms of like, okay, you can only use these 2 guns with these attachments on these maps. How was that kind of transitioning for you?
I like COD more because it's just like 2 things I have to worry about. Everyone's wearing the same attachments, same perks.
So you like the conformity, right then?
Yeah, as compared to like Overwatch, where it's like anyone could play anything. There's like different ways you could stack stuff. It's a lot for Overwatch.
Yeah, no, definitely. Do you prefer games like Overwatch, where it's like there's a lot of variation in terms of like individual matches and like coming back to play again, compared to COD, where it's like, okay, you're probably going to play one of 4 maps?
Yeah, I think I like Overwatch more. I like the chaos. That's why I like Marvel Rivals too, and I tried out for it. It was fun. There's
That's
so much
funny.
happening. I from Overwatch going to Marvel Rivals, I'm like there. Like I know everything. I could like.
You can figure it out.
Yeah, I can
pretty
figure it out.
close. Yeah, definitely.
We need to expand our map pool, dude. We play like 2 of our 3 HP maps.
Yeah.
There's 5 of them. We like insta-ban 2 of them.
Yeah.
Red card.
Red card,
get out.
gone.
Yeah.
Other things.
Red card search gone.
Gone.
We'll pass the question off to you, Fernie, for our last like official COD question. How important is it to have like a deep map pool when it comes to like competitive COD in terms of like counter banning and banning against opponents?
I think. Oh dang! I answered would blinked out.
We can go back to you, Kaze.
I think overall you just got to play what you're good at. I'm all like, yeah, having a deeper map pool is good because most of the time if you're only good at like 1 or 2 maps, they're gonna ban it. So I say pick the maps that you're definitely more comfortable on because you're gonna perform better on them. So like if we don't play red card, we need to scrim more red card. We're gonna keep scrimming it, but if we're not feeling comfortable on it going into playoffs, then there's our insta ban. Like we'll try it out in matches, we'll try it out everywhere else. Like if it's just not a comfortable map, there's no use in playing it.
What about you, Freddie?
So like the way I think of it is like when you have a little map pool like we do now, it gets kind of brain numbing as you play longer series because it's like, oh, it's the same thing, repetition, this and that. But like when they add new maps that are able to be played comp and you like learn them really quick or like learn all the strats or whatever, usually other teams don't do the same. They like kind of put it off to the side and stick to what they're good at. So you can take advantage really easily on like.
You can throw them off.
Yeah. So like maps like Hacienda that they added recently. Like I used to hate that map when it came out. I was like, what the heck do I watch? Like there's so many angles. But like once you play it more and get reps over other teams that don't, you learn like a lot and you can outslay and just slam.
You also learn that like yes, the maps are I'd say they're relatively big. Like there's a lot of open space and a good chunk of the maps like P1, Hasi is just a courtyard. You're pretty much opened at 5 to 6 different angles if you're sitting on P1. And so, but you learn how to cut the map into sections and prioritize certain fights. And so, yeah.
I think that helps show like who's better.
Yeah.
Like in terms of like brain power. You know?
Like your game sense, the brain.
Brain over aim.
You don't have just like an AR player rushing out into P1. Like that's just if you have somebody doing that, then you know something's wrong. Like
So I'm not supposed to be doing that.
Not exactly. Classy. I don't think so.
My fault.
Like you can tell who takes the time to learn the game.
Definitely. Well, we'll go ahead and wrap this up with a final closing statement. We'll start it off with you, Classy. One thing you want to say to all the NM State COD fans or even the Rocket League fans here, talk to them. Give us your last little goodbye before we see you next.
I mean, for Rocket League, you're gonna see us perform pretty high. We got coaching and stuff like that, and our team is like really, really strong. So you'll see us get hopefully another trophy up there for NECC, and then for us Academy, you're gonna see us shoot. You'll see us shoot.
Julie Chief.
Yeah. Just get ready to see us for COD. I think we're doing pretty well. We know how to play with each other a lot better now. So I think we'll go up.
Kaze?
Yeah, I think you can always catch probably me or Classy streaming it. It's definitely, I would say if you're hearing our comms, we're having fun. It's always going to be fun. We're always making jokes. Or there's a certain time where there's certain times where I'll be, whenever I die in an HP and it goes to a teammate and I just see them get absolutely 180 and I'm just like, damn. It's just like, you'll hear us say those things and it's just, it's good vibes. And so it's just a good time.
Freddie?
I think we're really competitive this year compared to last year, just because they had like a lacking fourth, I think. And, I've had a lot of praise about like how I play and stuff from people. So just trying to like show what I could do to everybody else that like believes in me. So I think we'll come out swinging.
Definitely. Make sure to follow at NM State COD. All of their Twitters will be linked down in the description, and make sure to tune in to whenever we get their games finally streamed. Other than that, thank you all so much for watching. Goodbye.